And joining us now is Sheiva Mahboubi, who is the spokeswoman for the campaign to free political prisoners in Iran. Sheiva joins us there from London. You were actually at the tribunal. You saw in the last report on the atrocities committed by Iran during that crackdown. Sheiva, first, tell us about the tribunal and the victims' testimonies that you heard yourself this week.
Yes, obviously, my campaign to free political prisoners, we had the campaign for protesters of November 2019, and we welcomed this court, this hearing. There were lots of witnesses there. I can see that you had some of them shown on TV. And the witness, basically the tribunal for the families of those who were killed, those who survived basically the violence, those who were at least temporarily freed from prison. And they were talking about, one, the treatment in prison and how they were sexually abused, they were tortured, they were forced to do basically forced confession. Even they saw kids as young as 13 to be sexually abused in prison. And there were other witnesses who were talking about how basically they saw people being killed. Many students as young as 13, 12, and 11 being shot, and how basically the security forces damaged the properties, claiming that this is the protesters. And the families, which bravely came without even covering their face, they came and spoke about their kids, how they killed their kids, how they didn't even give back their bodies, and how even now, because of attending the tribunal, they are threatening them. So there were many basically witnesses, including also some of the security forces, which was very interesting that they chose to come and say that how actually the regime organized their security forces and how they attacked people. And they felt they want to be part of the basically people, which was very unique about this tribunal. We never had that. So therefore, all the witnesses came forward and spoke about them. And obviously, this is a great steps for justice for these families in Iran who never been heard. And I think more than being heard, this is a court that actually investigates the crime against humanity committed by the Islamic regime in 2019. So hopefully we'll be able to use this document to ask for the arrest of these perpetrators.
Yeah, so tell me, given the horrible, atrocious things these people went through, how are these witnesses actually being protected?
Well, these witnesses, some of them, as I mentioned, they chose to come with their real name and actually not covering their face from Iran. Bear in mind that most of the witnesses were from Iran. Some of them, they completely covered their face, not using their name. Obviously, their real name, etc., were given to the panel of judges prior to that. And also, even some of them, they have a voiceover, so they didn't use their voice. So the tribunal used every possible ways to protect these people that attended and risked their life to give witness to what happened about the atrocity of November 2019.
Yeah, wow. So tell me, Sheiva, going forward now, what is the next step after this tribunal? What happens now?
So basically, first of all, let me mention that they named 133 perpetrators, including Khamenei, Rouhani, and Ibrahim Raisi, the current president, and many more who actually they got it from the witness statement. So what happened next? Since the basically tribunal started, many more people called from Iran, and they were encouraged. They encouraged basically by the tribunal, by hearing all these witnesses, and they said, we want to also present our cases. We want to also say what happened and how they killed people. So from the closing statement and also from what the panel of judges said, that this tribunal well considers those witnesses, that they send their statements. And also, if it's needed, it might be another tribunal, another hearing to actually have more witnesses there. Bear in mind, among 45 people who were supposed to present their statement, there were 33 people, witnesses who were there. So this is a great achievement. Bear in mind, the regime is still on power. And tomorrow is the anniversary of the November 2019. So therefore, this is a great achievement for justice movement, for families who actually still don't have the right to actually even have funeral for their children, and even the children's grave get demolished or get vandalized by the Islamic regime. So it's great news, especially even for someone like me who were arrested in Iran at the age of 16. I feel this is a victory for all of us, for the humanity, and hopefully we take this forward to be able to hear more witnesses to investigate this crime in a much more bigger scale.
Yeah, Shiva, you're so right there. You're doing absolutely important work. Thank you so very much for coming on to chat to us.
Thank you.
All right, well, closing arguments are now being